Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel today. As you can tell, I'm feeling much better. I'm almost over this cold. This share today is for Cut to You, and Gwen is sponsoring Scrap the Girls this month, so I'm playing along with this sketch, which inspired me to use the Frames cut file, which is this one, Frames background. It is a brand new one for May, and as soon as I saw it in the sketch, I was like, yep, I'm using that. This is the page I've created. That's a photo of my mum, my sister, my auntie, and myself. And here is my process. So firstly, the lighting is not fantastic. Please let me know in the comments if you would rather not see videos. I think I have a couple more with the lighting like this. This is in my new space, and I didn't have lights set up yet. So let me know in the comments if you're okay with this or not. If you are not happy, then I will not share more with this lighting. I will wait until I'm up to, well, I've got lights now, so they went in just on the weekend. So I will wait till I can get those up. Anyway, what I'm doing here, you can see I've cut this on cardstock. I think I cut it on smooth. Now I had a completely different idea to what I ended up with. You can see the paper on the left hand side there, that is from the Coco Vanilla Studio Happiness collection, and I was going to use that to back the open flowers. So the three big open flowers, the one on the top left, the middle right, and the bottom left, I was going to back those flowers with that pattern paper and just colour the solid flowers here. All I'm using is some Distress Oxide. This colour is Peacock Feathers, and you can see I've just smooshed my ink pad onto my craft sheet there, and I'm using a watercolour brush pen, and I'm just adding colour. I'm going back in and adding a few spots of darker colour so that I do get that watercolour effect, and I kind of get carried away. I'm going to jump forward a bit here in a second, I think. No, not yet. So these were the more solid flowers as well, and I was going to colour those, so I went ahead and did that. This, I think, is Worn Lipstick. So again, I'm just smushing my ink pad onto my craft mat and picking the colour up with my watercolour brush. This technique is so simple, so effective as well though. And adding more coats will get you a darker colour. An in progress shot, so you can see I've done the other pink flower, and I've also done the leaves in green, and I've used cracked pistachio for that. I wanted to pull out the darker blue in that pattern paper. By this stage, I got carried away with what I was doing. I was like, oh, you know what, I'm just going to paint the whole thing. Then I'll decide what I'm going to do from there. So I just kept going. The dark blue that I'm using is Faded Jeans, and you can see I'm just adding that straight on top of the cut file because I'm not using a ton of water. It doesn't warp too much. My intention was to use the wood grain background from this collection, the wood grain pattern paper, as my background, but clearly that changes as well. So I'm just adding some of these Faded Jeans, just re-stamping that when I need to. Again, I don't make you watch all of this. I'm going to jump forward in a second, and you can see that I'm applying a second coat. You can see how light this is, and I wanted it to be more like that darker blue in the pattern paper. So I'm going to jump forward now, and you can see it's all done. You can see on the right hand side that I've already gone in and done a second coat, and you can see that I'm working on that top cluster there, that top floral, and I'm just going back in with some more colour and going over that to get that darker colour. As I get further down on the cut file, it will be more obvious because you can see the dark against that frame there. You can see the difference in colour. And that's it, all finished. So I was trying to work out which pattern paper I was going to use for backing, I think. I haven't been able to get my hands on the 6x8 paper pad yet. So I'm a bit, I did have to cut into some of these big sheets, but that's okay. I'm going to use this one with the frames because there's lots of different patterns and I don't have to use a lot of the paper. I'm going to use some of the wood grain behind some of those squares, and you can see I am just using my Scotch tacky glue and sticking that down. I'm going to chop that excess off and then use the rest of that leftover frame to put the wood grain in 3 pieces. This is a really simple process. When I cut this in my Silhouette software, I just made a 4x6 box as well, and I made sure that that fit in that middle frame. That's my photo. I have added cardboard behind all of the solid pieces of that cut file. Now behind the open flowers and the open leaves, I've just backed that with some vellum. And in the center of those big blue flowers and the pieces that are furthest away from the photo, I have put 2 layers of cardboard just for extra dimension. Now, I happen to just pop my completed cut file onto this background pattern paper and I went, oh, I really like that. I was like, no, you wanted to use the wood grain. So I put it back on the wood grain and I couldn't resist this one. It was just, it just looked right. So that's what I went with. What you didn't see was that I had placed my cut file on there and then I had marked basically the outline of where the cut file was so that I knew where to add this gesso. I just wanted to fade out some of that pattern in the background so that that cut file stood out a little bit more. And it's not particularly obvious, but it's enough, I think, and it works really well with the white markings that are already on this pattern paper. I'm going to apologise now. I thought I was recording, but apparently my phone just randomly stopped recording, so you don't get my whole process. Yeah, so it's going to just randomly stop in a couple of minutes. But you can see I'm just sticking that down. Because I've used the gesso in the background, I'm using my Scotch tacky glue. And I'm using this title from the Midnight Collection. I did cut off some of that white border. I'm going to stick that down. And this is quite a busy layout. That pattern paper, it is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. But because it is so busy, I didn't want to add too much. I do get these 2 tassels on, which I love. They're gorgeous. I love them. Just to get that sit how I want, I drop the top off, and I'm just going to stick those straight on. 1, 2. I do try to get the 3rd one in, but I didn't really like it, so I didn't. I've got, that is a sticker from, I think, the Midnight Collection, and then, so I started by pulling out some butterflies from the ephemera pack, and then Zoe from Coco Villa Studio shared that one of the design team members had used their scan and cut mat on their Cameo to fussy cut a sheet of butterflies, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't have to fussy cut them. So I ended up using 3 of the butterflies from the pattern paper that my Cameo cut for me, which is awesome, and I've used those as pretty much my only embellishment. I have taken that to my sewing machine. I stitched through this piece, through the Wonderful, and then through the 3 butterflies. I do go back in and add some white splatters. Again, it's very subtle. You can see it in the close-ups, but I really love this. It's totally not what I had in mind, but it was fun to play with products. This cut file just made making this layout so easy. Once I had the colouring done, it just came together in a snap. I'll make sure I leave links to everything in the description box below. I hope that you have enjoyed, and if you have any questions, make sure you leave them below. I will see you again in my next video. Thanks for stopping by.